This is Act and Analyze with Maggie and Tyler. We are two best friends.
I'm an actress.
And I'm a therapist.
In Act and Analyze, you will hear us discuss all things within media and our daily lives, while relating it to our lovely guests.
We want to have fun, but also learn along the way.
Everywhere around us is media. We just want to know, what type of media helps you, or infuriates you, or makes you feel good?
We want to grow with you and leave you all feeling better than how we found you.
Welcome to Act and Analyze.
Hey. Hi, everyone.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to Act and Analyze with Maggie and Tyler.
We're back for another amazing episode.
Yeah, this was a fun one.
Mm-hmm.
This was a good one. His name is Josh Dumas. He is a entrepreneur.
Mm-hmm.
He is a fitness king.
Mm-hmm.
He also works in public health.
Yep.
He also went to an Ivy League school.
Yep.
He's also lived in like over 9 states.
Yes.
So impressive.
Yeah. That's like such a perfect word, I feel like, for him. Like, he's like so impressive, so well-rounded, just dedicated to wanting to make the world a better place.
100%.
Make healthcare more accessible to people who historically haven't had accessible healthcare.
Mm-hmm.
He's really passionate about serving and giving back, and yeah, he's just all around a great person.
For you guys to hear it.
Yeah. So, without further ado, here's Josh.
Awesome. I appreciate you guys having me.
Josh, tell the pod about who you are.
For some reason, answering introduction questions are always the hardest part because I never know where to really start when I describe myself or introduce myself. My name is Joshua Dumas. I guess career-wise, I am a healthcare consultant that focuses on value-based care, particularly for healthcare practices that are providing primary care for communities that need the most help and the most care. I'm born and raised in Bridgeport, Connecticut, but I'm still a little bit more nomadic in life. I left my hometown of Bridgeport and went on a journey of learning about as many different people and perspectives as I possibly can. And went as up north and froze up in Ithaca, New York, and shipped west out to California. Went to party in Miami for a little bit, and went to the country in Jacksonville, Florida, and the Midwest in Ohio, and here I am now in Charlotte, North Carolina.
Yes. What has been your favorite place, like, out of all those places?
Ooh, something about the Bay Area just makes me. It's if it wasn't for the ridiculous cost of living, I'd still be there today.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see. You got to get rich in 5 years, and then we'll revisit where I'll be paying my mortgage. $4,000 a month for rent right now does not sound pleasant.
No.
I'm a human that has been trying to figure out how to not be the best version of myself, but help inspire other people and give everyone the same opportunity to be the best version of themselves at the same time. Whether it's through my actual career in healthcare or through my passions around fitness or just my blackness overall and what it's like to be a Black here in America. Just everything about who I am as a person is I hope to be a light to remind other folks that they could be who they want to be, how they want to be, very happily in this ecosystem of people that we have here in the world. So that's me.
Amazing. I love that intro. That was just like so human and real, and I feel like you really like talked about your passions so deeply and lovely. So tell us a little bit about what inspired you to go into healthcare.
This is my favorite question to answer. Growing up in Fairfield County is a very interesting place to grow up. Like Fairfield County has a lot of money. It is rich. New Canaan, Greenwich, Westport, like all of that's where all of your old money kind of sits. And then being from Bridgeport, which is primarily Black and brown, and all of the disparities that you can probably imagine that come from a city like that, being the most populated city in the state at that. You can literally drive 20 minutes up, one street and go from surrounded by mansions to, wondering if you'll be safe if you're walking on that street at night. So just naturally, I've been a skeptic since I was a kid. Like I never understood why that was the case. I just knew like that was a norm for me and my family, and it didn't make sense that it wasn't a norm for people that live 20 minutes up the road.
Yeah.
So in my mind, it was just like, this doesn't make sense. I want to know why. Why does the system operate this way? Why do people, see life this way when they don't have to? Um, and somehow that turned into well, I'm going to be, one of the people to fix it. And if anybody should fix it, it should be people that work in healthcare because, your average hospital or healthcare system is typically the biggest employer, in a community, but they're also, they make all of their money off of the people that they serve too. So
Yeah.
in my mind, who else has, the resource and potential, like the actual money to do something, but then also like the moral imperative, like they should do something than healthcare. And that's kind of like how that rabbit hole of choosing to work in an industry that like this started.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Growing up, what kind of forms of media has helped you or affected you throughout
This
that time?
like I grew up an only child. So
Okay.
let's, put some color on this. I'm an only child from a city that, in its own right is a bubble to the reality of, of what the world is. So
Mhm.
the only, representation of America that you really see is through media. I grew up in the beginning of a social media boom. So, frankly, a lot of like what I knew and what I understood about the world was literally through whatever was put in front of me, either on my phone or on a TV screen or on movies. And as a black man, imagine, the implications that may have on, what you think you can be, should be, are allowed to be, etc., based on realities. But, without going down that, I guess, cliche pathway, I think just literally like, I would watch movies and be like, huh, I didn't know you can do this in life. I didn't know there beaches that where it's, it's warm all the time. And there
Mhm.
became like this itch to see the world beyond what I've experienced. And I don't know a single movie that's set in Connecticut. You
Yeah,
know, I don't know a single
They're all horror movies. They're all
exactly.
horror movies.
Exactly. I don't know a single song about vacationing in Connecticut or getting money in Connecticut or anything like that, right? So like when you grow up, like where I grew up, you're like, man, like like what you glamorize also, is affected by that.
yeah,
But then I personally, got an itch to just see everything for myself, and that started my nomadic life. Was everything on media looks so different than
Mhm.
what like I actually see in my reality, and I want to see it for myself this time. And I caught a bug that I thought I'd be able to get rid of, and I'm still addicted to seeing as many things as I can see.
Yeah. Are there any other like places that you've seen on media that you want to go to? I'm curious if there's any place that you've been like, oh my God, I want to go.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Japan,
Mhm.
like Japan is one for sure.
Yeah.
Iceland is another. Like I
Oh,
would kill to see the lights like under
Yes.
like the Iceland like sky.
oh my God.
Um,
Yes.
and I have no understanding of what that could possibly be like other than what I've seen in like movies and TV and stuff. um,
Mhm.
and but I can't wait to do it.
Yeah.
Where else? Yeah, everywhere. I've never been to the other side of the world. Like I've never been to the Eastern Hemisphere at all.
Hmm.
So all I know about it is what I know about it on TV and in songs and in movies and etc. And I cannot wait to again see it for myself.
Yeah. Yeah.
Amazing. Is there any, when you're talking about like wanting to travel and what you've watched and
Yeah.
how that made you want to experience, is there anything that sticks out in particular? Like any movie or film or show, book,
Oh,
anything like that?
that is a great question. I I don't think there's a particular like experience that I've seen in a book or movie, but I always get this. I like music. I'm a big music fan.
Mhm.
And I imagine my life operates like with like a music soundtrack in the background. um, so like there's like a specific like energy of like with the I want to drive on the highway and like play a song that just like captures the feeling of like what I'm feeling in that
Hmm.
moment. which is like that is my like arena. Like I love driving up like Highway 1 in California and just like playing a song that literally sounds like the air is blowing in your hair and all that good stuff. So I think like that is, I don't know like the word to articulate that really, but like to literally be able to experience something that feels like a song is
Mhm.
I totally get that.
Yes.
Mhm.
No, that's like I think you articulated it perfectly, that feeling. Is there any song in particular off that
Yeah.
question?
Oh man, I'm weird. I have a dream. There's a particular Rick Ross song, Aston Martin music. One day I will play that song driving an Aston Martin in Europe. It's gonna happen at some point in my life.
Yes.
And I'm gonna sit the seat back. I'm gonna smoke a cigar, and I'm gonna feel like that song.
Mhm.
Um, there's a song by Ari Lennox and a guy named Duran Bernard, and it's called Stuck, and it is my favorite. It's one of those songs I can't ever skip. One of the weirdest songs ever. It is a song that nobody that would expect I would love, but it's a song that I can't help but listen to. And it's probably like the first song I play when I get into the car, no matter what.
Are you like a person that can play the same song over and over again because you love it so much, or do you like to like mix it up no matter what?
I don't. I am very like moody. Like it depends on my mood. Like,
Yes.
so it's I will have periods where I will listen to the same 3 songs on repeat just because I'm absolutely in love with it. And then like I'll have a moment where it's just like I'm going all to songs that I used to listen to when I was a kid.
Mhm.
But then I'm exploratory. Like I like to find new music and weird sounds and like I have an eclectic personality and try to find like that eclectic music that matches my personality. It's a little funky, a little hip hop, a little soulful, a little just beautifully put together. And so I go down like my Spotify rabbit holes of just like finding new alternative type of music that's just fun. Yeah.
Mhm. Amazing. What would you say there's any like movie or show or music that you feel like represents your personality?
Ooh. My favorite 2 movies ever. Well, my favorite 3 movies ever, and I think 3 probably captured me pretty well.
Mhm.
Lion King is the greatest movie of all
Yes.
time.
Hamlet.
It's the best ever.
So good.
Inception is another because I love Chris Nolan. I love everything about that movie, and The Matrix is my third.
Oh, hell yeah.
Okay.
You know,
Yeah.
so I love it's like thriller. You know, you watch it 5 times and you get 5 different messages out of it. You know, at the surface level, it just looks very entertaining, but you dig a little deeper into it, and there's a very complex psychology behind it, and
Yes.
I think that captures me fairly well. I try to keep myself as simple as possible as I can on the outside, and then the more you dig into me, the more you're like, man, he's weird.
I feel like those 3 movies are like the perfect combination of movies.
Mhm.
Like
Oh, yeah,
there's
absolutely.
so much heart in Lion King.
So many layers to all of the movies.
So many layers. It's amazing. I love
That's me in a nutshell.
Mhm.
Yeah, depending on how you look at them, you get a different viewpoint. I feel like that's you.
Hmm.
Depending on
Exactly.
how close you are, how under the layer you are. With your fitness journey, how has media been a part of that for you?
Yeah, I didn't. It's crazy. This is like my life is weird, where I feel like I literally live 5, 6 separate lives at the exact same time. Back in 2017, I was a very obese human that really wasn't doing a great job taking care of myself or loving myself or looking even thinking highly of myself, frankly. And that reflected in how I carried myself. That reflected in my relationships. That reflected in my confidence and every insecurity that you can possibly think of. I walked in, um, and April 4th, 2017, I actually was the day that I decided to do something about something that was fully in my control and stop kind of making excuses and blaming everything else around me, but you know love myself so much that I'm willing to hold myself accountable to the goals that I have for myself. And we went from a very unhealthy like 320 pounds, and we lost about 120 pounds in a year, and
Mhm.
which was in its own right, unbelievable back then. But that was the beginning of a journey of learning how to create like a sustainable, healthy lifestyle for myself.
Mhm.
And how do you deal with the mental side of your relationship with food and your relationship with weight, and as a man that goes from being a very large, not very conventionally attractive human to what people would deem as like the opposite, and like psychologically, how does that impact someone
Mhm.
that's also growing up at the exact same time and learning how to be a man, and your entire childhood you spent one way, and then it's almost like a switch got flipped and now you're a completely different person,
Mhm.
trapped in a different body, or the same person trapped in a completely different body. So like that has been a experience in its own right. So like losing the weight was literally just the beginning of that journey. And I'd be a liar if I said like there was positive media that really helped. Um, I spent a lot of time on Instagram and to motivate myself. Fitness Instagram is an unbelievably large community now, especially since COVID, and I
Yes.
think it's a ridiculously toxic community. But
Mhm.
I was the desperate kid that was scrolling endlessly, just hoping for someone to have a magic wand or solution, and I made the mistakes of like believing those things. But eventually, I learned like how to consume media that was actually conducive for the goals that I wanted. Accidentally made an Instagram page that accidentally went viral, and I have a following of people that look to me to be that transparent, honest source of, I guess, media for them as they go through their own journeys.
Mhm.
Um, which is its own experience, because don't have a great relationship with social media. So being that consistent presence for other people when I'm struggling with it with myself is its
Yeah.
own thing. But
What do you mean by like your relationship with social media isn't great? How is that relationship for you?
and this is when Doc gets on a soapbox a bit. Um, Social media today, I don't think is what social media was 10, 15 years ago.
Mm.
It went from something that was designed to keep people connected with each other to something that was designed to keep us consuming something. Um, so inevitably, like now everything's about marketing. Everything's about how do you
Yes.
get, the most eyes in front of it? How do you know, get the most, return on investment on your reels and all that good stuff. And I personally struggle. I'm a naturally very private person anyways. I don't really tell my business. I don't really like share my business. Like I'm a very transparent and authentic guy when I talk to people, but like I don't go out my way to tell everybody what's going on with my life, which is its
Mhm.
own thing. But the other is just as it gets harder to just be yourself on social media because that's not what's incentivized. I don't have a very strong desire to try to manipulate people to get more followers or to get more engagement, or
Yeah.
that's just not something I really have a strong interest in, even though I know how to do it. I could be good at it. I could easily have probably 100,000 followers. I got
Mhm.
15,000 organically in like a year. So like but I just try to be very cognizant of not falling into the trap of taking advantage of people that are literally just looking for a something that they can put their hope into.
Mhm.
Um, and like that's where it's hard, because sometimes it's like, Josh, like I really do want to deactivate that page,
Mhm.
because I find myself like if I feel really good about my body, like I'll post a little bit more. If I'm not, I won't, and I don't. Like that's not a great
Mhm.
Mhm.
thing to just like. And I'm very fully aware of that being the case, but like when you're in that moment, it's kind of like hard to be like, why do you care? You can say you don't care, but we're all human, and validation and acceptance is something that we all need as a basic survival. Like it is a human need to be one. Like we are not
Yeah.
solitary people.
Mhm.
Like that we are people meant to be in small communities. Like that is like biologically how we are hardwired.
Mhm.
Um, and so I'm not one of those people that thinks like, oh, everyone is like so caught into like acceptance and validation on social media. I mean, like, duh, like we're
Exactly.
human,
Yeah.
like, like we're
Yeah.
human.
Mhm.
Um, but there's a balance that's never easy to find. And, the people that kind of create our social media, unfortunately aren't trying to, hey, how can we make sure everyone's well connected and feel comfortable being themselves? Everything's, how can we make money off of these people?
So true.
And it's hard for me to, I already work in healthcare where I'm dealing with this problem.
Mm.
So like in media, it's hard to like perpetuate a system that I am very firmly against, even though it may benefit me. That's my soapbox.
Yeah, I think that you bring up a really important point about validation, that we get it so quickly and so easily, and we're naturally not supposed to get that much validation and attention and
Absolutely.
connection that easily and accessibly. So it kind of fucks up our brain a bit. Of like, okay, if I get off social media, I'm not going to get that as much, and that's addicting. It's so it makes it really hard to disconnect from it.
Yeah.
But the rough part is like it is hard to disconnecting from social media in today's world almost means you're disconnecting from the world, which doesn't solve the problem, because we can't be isolated. It's not healthy to be isolated. So what is the solution is not an answer I really know, and but definitely like this seems to be like the age of censorship and all this nonsense of like how do you regulate social media, and we'll see how this looks for everyone and for us and those like implications overall. But yeah, like it's sometimes it's like social media, sometimes it's like social media is the greatest thing ever because you get to connect with so many people. You guys have heard of how many different cities I've lived in. You know how cool it is to be able to just like let my social media know this is the city I'm in and find people that I can connect with in that city. I have so many friends that I literally met through my Instagram page and my fitness page. So like as much as I shit on social media, like it's also been a great. I'm an only child. Like I don't move out a lot. I don't make a lot of very close friendships with people. So at the same time, social media is the one thing that keeps me connected to it's a weird balance.
Yeah, I know. And I like what you said too about when, 15 years ago, social media wasn't like it is today. Like, and people's intentions are different now with social media. It really is so true. And I think that what we can do, we can only help ourselves in this case. Social media has become so oversaturated and so much bigger than I think anyone ever thought it would be, that you're doing the best you can to be a good person on there and be kind. And that's like, at the end of the day, that's all we can do on there. And not cause harm, like, and manipulate followers and stuff. So I just admire that and appreciate you just acknowledging that, because it is crazy how oversaturated it is, and how much people push misinformation and just wrong things onto us.
Very the institutions and big companies that kind of like run social media, I don't think they're unaware of the fact that probably the majority of this country / world is not very well educated. But I don't think the people at the very top of our infrastructure, I don't think they're unaware of that. So like knowing that, it's like, hey, like spreading misinformation, doing all of these things that may generate a lot more clicks, a lot more engagement, a lot more views, a lot more dollars, a lot more revenue, it doesn't really matter. These people are going to eat it all up because we're not going to put, media out there to encourage critical thinking. We're not going to put media out there to encourage, self-education. We're going to distill everything down as dumb as we possibly can, so that even the most uneducated person can just believe us, and we don't even care about the integrity of the thing that we're doing anymore. And I think that is my anti-capitalist hat that I just I just put on. But like that is the infrastructure we live in, where we are very aware that the vast majority of our country is not educated enough to think critically on their own, and instead of trying to change that, we take advantage of it. And it sucks to watch it happen. And I hope that the folks that are more inclined to critically think and do have the privilege to you'll be able to critically think, because I think part of that is a privilege. If you're surviving every day, fuck critical thinking. It's about fucking surviving.
Mhm.
But the people that do have a privilege to critically think, I think we have a responsibility and an onus to not judge the people that critically think, to not call them sheep and to call them stupid, but to do our part and to stand and spread the truth and helpfully, help folks that want to learn.
Exactly. And I think that like the positive part about media is sense of community, which you brought up before with all the places you've gone. Like people have who never found community maybe in their hometowns. Like, people in the LGBTQIA community who are in the middle of Texas maybe have no one, and they find a sense of community through social media, or through groups that they find through media, which is the really beautiful part about it.
Maybe small media is the answer. Maybe it's just like continue to have like these communities that are personalized to groups versus, one big conglomerate that's trying to control it all, right? Like letting the LGBTQ community be the face of the LGBT community, like community, literally. I run an employee resource group for Black employees at my organization, and I'm very honest about the fact that it was Women's History Month after Black History Month, and they had asked for some feedback from me, and I was like, hey, I don't think I'm the person that you guys want to be asking about this. There's nothing about me that relates to this, and I don't think my message would that doesn't seem like the most equitable thing to do. So I pass it on to the young woman that was my co-chair. But I think like having those spaces that are a lot more personalized to the actual people that like identify with that community, and I see it happening more. And I think that's the great side of media. It's those small groups and those Facebook. Everyone loves Facebook groups. I need to find some more to join.
I'm also curious about, you mentioned that you've made connections and friendships through your fitness page and through social media. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Life is weird. I can think of 5 very close friends that I have now that they didn't know me, I didn't know them. We only knew each other like from Twitter or from Instagram, and I just so happened to fly into their city and friendship was made. There's the first example I can think of is my friend Dex. He's a photographer. Shout out to Dex. And this is my first time ever going to California, and I flew into LA. And I knew nothing about LA, but I posted on my fitness page that I'm going to be going to LA. Any recommendations? And again, I don't know him, but he reaches out and he shows me love. He offers to help, give me recommendations of place in the city. We do literally a photo shoot, like a fitness photo shoot, at Muscle Beach in Venice Beach, and to this day, and that was 5 years ago, but to this day, we stay connected and stay in touch with each other, and it's crazy, just like how one DM about how someone inspired you, or how my gut going from massive to a couple abs turns from like inspiration and and questions about how did I go through certain experiences in my life to actual friendships and me almost leaning on them for things. And it's weird. I probably made more friends off of social media than I've made in real life.
Wondering, like, pivoting to your life in healthcare, is there any piece of media that you feel like you've seen, like healthcare? Because I feel like the only thing that's shown in healthcare is like doctor shows and ER scenes and all of that, but I don't see a lot of like that corporate part of it.
Yeah, isn't that crazy? That's why I was pre-med in undergrad, because when I said I wanted to work in healthcare, all I knew was like medicine. Like no one knows. Like I knew Grey's Anatomy. I've never saw a person in a suit on Grey's Anatomy.
That literally where my mind went.
You know what I mean? But like they're there. Like somebody's managing the budget. Somebody's the CEO of the hospital. So it's been funny, like not watching what you do be represented in any media.
Mhm.
But part of me is also happy it isn't. I think glamorizing like the business of healthcare is a very slippery slope. And so like part of me like even represent like that would be nice to see is like a TV show about your hospital executives like in a boardroom and all the shit show that goes on, as they yell each other there. There's still so much like wrong with it to where it's like, all right, I'm glad like this isn't something that's almost like glamorized because at the end of the day, healthcare is about helping people and it's about the patients at the bottom of, the care that's being delivered and not like the big money executives that are making the money at the very top.
Do you feel like your day-to-day life, like, are you living a drama? Are you living a comedy?
Ooh,
I like that.
that's a great question. Damn, what would be my genre? I'm like
a sitcom?
I think I'm a parody. I'm like a
I love that.
exploitation film. Like I think I'm like a walking Boondocks episode. I think
my
is the best way to
God.
put it. Like where everything that comes out of my mouth is either serious, not serious. It's either sarcasm. Like it could be taken very straightly, or you could go very deep into it. You can be entertained. You can be very entertained, or you can dive deep and end up having a philosophical conversation as much as you want. But you're gonna laugh the entire time. I guarantee you'll be entertained. That seems like what's my life.
That's amazing.
I love that.
Yeah.
How would you say your mental health journey relates to media?
Man, I'm a black man. Growing up, like I can't think of any positive media specifically like geared towards a black man that doesn't relate to sports or entertainment. And that's like, even though it's cliche, like fucking 100 years later, it's still true. That like now you see, more, smaller outlets that are helping them, take their mental health a little bit more seriously. But it's not something that, like more you see it's normalized that men are, willing to say I love you to each other and things like that. Those small little things I think 10, 15 years ago weren't things. So, it's grateful. But, for me personally, I almost learned from media, like how to navigate life and how to navigate my own, mental health. I didn't have the most role models, that's not something that I had the privilege of having. So a lot of what I learned on how to like deal with situations and handle things were literally from TV. Like literally. Like when people were like, what is it, Jake Hobart? First things first, rest in peace, like Uncle Phil, you're the only father that I ever knew. Like that's real. Like that's a real bar that like I'm sure a lot of black men like feel is that like sitcom dads almost like fill a role of like how to handle life problems and things like that. Those lessons on sitcoms are actual life lessons that like a lot of people that said that I personally sat down and watched. It was like, oh, that's how I navigate these problems, or that's funny or not, but like I learned from those type of things. Obviously, I'd be a liar if I said like media is great, like has been great for like mental health. Like most of it, is about distracting yourself and not actually solving digging into the root of why we are the way we are and why we behave the way we behave. So it's a weird reality that for some reason we think making money will solve the actual problems that we have. And I think a lot of us are going to be in for a big surprise when we're rich and miserable.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's so true. So you feel like a lot of your life lessons you found through media. Is there anything that sticks out in particular when you say that?
I think it's just it's literally simple things of like watching like black male figures in sitcoms, watching black male figures in movies, and the Denzels and the Will Smiths and like in their movies, and like literally like you're just watching like how they're constantly like portrayed as like black men handling their problems. Like the pursuit of happiness I had on. I think I watched that movie as a kid probably like 20 times straight. Because I was so like inspired on how to get through like tough times. You know what I mean? And how like he, went to work every single day. The man was homeless. You know what I mean? And he ended up winning. Like the pursuit of happiness probably is that movie that I think of when I think about this. It's like because that movie changed like my perception on like a lot of things, in life, and taught me lessons that like a person didn't. So yeah, I think that's a good example.
That's a great example.
That's an incredible.
Yeah.
Josh, do you have any recommendations? What are you watching? What are you listening to? Podcasts, books. Yeah.
Yes. So I'll start with books because I feel like I haven't been reading as much as I used to, and I don't like feeling stupid for some reason. I feel like the more you read, like I have a better vocabulary. Like anyway.
No, I
like,
feel the same exact way.
like I'm like, man, like it's harder to like articulate the things that I'm really trying to articulate. I think is directly.
Yeah, I'll be in moments and I'm like, I'm trying to think of a word and I'm like, I need to start reading again.
And I'm like, I think it's because I'm not reading as much as I used to. So one book that I love is called When Things Fall Apart, Hard Advice for Difficult Times by Pema Chodron. I probably pronounced her name so wrong, but it's Pemachhodron. Love that book. It's like a guide about just how to give yourself grace, like when all things fall apart, the good and the bad, just like in finding almost like that homeostatic peace. Even when all hell is breaking loose. It's a great book, very motivational book. Highly recommend it for anyone. Another in that same realm, The Happiness Hypothesis is one of my favorite books. Very similar, kind of goes through just a bunch of anecdotes in history and media and literature and just different ways that, to visualize, happiness in ways that you haven't really seen it. Podcasts. I'm a geek, and there's this one specific podcast, and I feel like I'm going to say it wrong. Is it called Google Search? No, it is called Search Engine. And imagine just wanting to learn about, and you randomly like search topics in Google, and like this podcast just like goes into it. So, so there's episodes about what's in your cocaine, to how do we survive the social media apocalypse, to who's behind all the scammy text messages that we were getting. Like all these random questions that people just probably like put into Google, like they just have a podcast answering all of it. So that's like my rabbit hole right now.
I like that.
The last one, my favorite music podcast, is called Dissect. Yeah, if you haven't done it yet, highly recommend. It pretty much breaks down albums. It breaks down albums and its totality over like series. So I did Beyonce's Lemonade, Kendrick Lamar's To Pimp a Butterfly, Mac Miller's album, all of it. So definitely want to check out Dissect, and you'll be very happy.
Love that rec.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna look into all of them. That sounds amazing.
Well, anything else that you didn't mention that you wanted to?
No, I appreciate you guys taking along with this journey.
Instagram, your fitness gram.
I wasn't going to do that, obviously. But if by any chance you are interested in learning more about me, about my journey in my fitness life, or through my career in healthcare, by all means, feel free to follow me on Instagram at Built by Bam, BUILTBYBAM.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Josh. You are incredible.
Yeah, you're amazing.
This was
I appreciate you guys.
Welcome to Maggie's Media Munchies, where I give you a piece of media to pair with a yummy food. So, Tyler and I both saw this movie this week. We saw them on separate occasions, in separate circumstances. We saw the movie Civil War. It's not funny, actually.
It's really not.
It's actually not at all. But you know what? I was following up on A24's Instagram, and I was looking at like the map of what the Civil War movie, of what the United States would be with, like, the movie. And then I saw the pictures of all the places during the Civil War, which it's just like, it's just so realistic.
The only thing that's not realistic would be like Texas and California being allies. That was like the only confusing part, but keep going because I did read an explanation on it. On why they ended up
together. Well, I can just imagine California taking over Texas and Texas going to Florida.
Yes, that's what I would imagine as well.
Was that not it?
No, so Texas and California were the western
front.
Those two states.
Yeah.
And then Florida was its own thing, and then it was like America.
Okay.
I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. But I'm imagining at like the time of like see now we need a Civil War movie that's like what they're doing with A Quiet Place, like Quiet Place Day One. Like I think the movie Civil War, we could use like Civil War Day One. I was missing a little bit of the history of it.
Okay.
Like I wanted to hear about how California took like in Texas.
And that was a lot of people's backlash on it. Yeah. It was confusing. Like it just went right in. Like the bombs went off. The president was talking, and it was just like, okay, it's happening.
It was so loud.
It was loud. It was loud.
So what I recommend to pair that with is like a shot of vodka. Like, go into it with a strong ass martini in your system, because I went into it on the opposite wavelength, a little too stoned. And let me tell you, it got too real for me in there.
Yeah.
Felt like AMC
Sensory overload.
Especially because also there was an image, a shot of an AMC in the distance.
Yes. I was like, what?
I'm scared to death. I wouldn't say it was like a great movie. Like I'm not like, because it wasn't. It was kind of scary and sad and a little too hit too close to home in some ways. And then but also I do feel like it didn't hit too close to home, where I was like, I feel like they could have touched on like more topics a little more rather than just the violence of it all.
Yeah.
But then again, I did think it was also commentary on like, it's like, I thought it was also commentary on the gun violence and all of the firearm violence that we have like in the United States.
Yes.
Like I do feel like the movie did like touch on that and how much of an issue it is.
Touched on just corruption and racism.
Yes.
And just a lot of issues in America it touched on. It wasn't so obvious, but there was like certain moments that, that's what the message was supposed to be. Oh my gosh. But with the red glasses, when I watched like an explain, it was supposed to represent like that he just saw red, that he just saw blood, and like just was like on a killing spree and just wanted to see red.
At moments for me when we were watching it, I felt like it could have been a TV series on Apple TV or something. Like the vignettes, I feel like of their moments, like had the same type of suspension in the film. I feel like each time, and I think if it was episodic things, it wouldn't have that same suspension of like anxiety inducing things. So that's why I recommend definitely going into it like with some drinks in you to like numb you a little bit. Also, like for any non-alcohol drinkers, maybe shoot just some straight pickle juice with it, because that'll get you like feeling like, whoa, strong.
Yeah, something to like shock value you need like beforehand to like shock your system to like be prepared to go into the Civil War.
Yeah. A Red Bull?
A Red Bull?
A Red Bull, maybe.
A monster.
Yeah, that shit's a monster. And then what else I have paired for you today is a much lighter one that you can watch stoned, because happy 420 weekend.
Yeah.
It's Conan O'Brien Must Go, and it's his new show on Max. I just saw him on Hot Ones, and his Hot Ones episode was crazy.
I need to watch it. I've been seeing clips.
His Hot Ones episode was outrageous. He is hysterical.
Yes.
One thing about me is like, I might be a direct descendant of Conan O'Brien. Like him and his 100% Irishness
Yes.
really strikes a chord with my family and I. It's one of the one things we all have in common. I adore him.
Mhm.
I feel like Conan has been like a nice attachment for me from a very young age. Like he was performing on like every night, doing late night forever.
Mhm.
Then the podcast every week. Like
Yeah.
he has a podcast too, and he is just hysterical. His energy is just one for the century. It's like he's a legend in my eyes, forever and
Yes.
always a legend.
Yes.
He's on my Mount Rushmore. He's there.
Yes.
He's
oh
there.
my gosh, so good.
But yeah, his show is really, really good. The travel show, the shots that he gets are just unreal. They're amazing. I just super recommend it. Recommend watching it with some fish and chips because I'm watching it very slowly because I like want to just like savor it and stuff. So Danny and I are watching it really slowly. So we watched the first episode and he was in Norway. And he ate like a bunch of fish and chips there. And I was like, and a lot of the places that he goes are very European. So I was like, I love a good fish and chip. And you know what? A hamburger. They're like the hamburger.
Yes.
Of Europe.
Yes, absolutely. They
and I wish our hamburger was fish and chips.
Me too.
Be so much better. Yeah.
And better for the environment.
Exactly.
Love that.
Yeah. So that's my media munchies.
Yum, yum, yum,
Yum,
yum,
yum,
yum,
yum,
yum. Welcome back to Tyler's Take Care of Yourself tip, where I give you a tip to take care of yourself. So my take care of yourself tip, we're talking to Josh about like how he has music for like certain like experiences that he's had or like wants to have. And I like loved that moment when he was talking about that, how like he has this like moment of wanting to listen to these specific songs driving down Route 1 in California.
Yeah, that's a vibe. That's a whole moment.
For sure. So just made me think of like a really good like little self-care tip of making almost like a vision board, but instead of a board, making it like a playlist.
Yes.
So you think of like moments, goals, experiences that you want to, places you want to see, just experiences in general that you want to have, and making songs to that represent each of those goals and experiences that you want to have.
Yes.
Like I feel like that could be super fun, a super like fun self-care tip, like vision and setting goal type of activity.
I love that. I love that.
Yeah. What would be something that you would do?
I would probably make a playlist to getting my master's.
Oh,
like that's really like on my mind right now, and like just looking at, and I've been watching a lot of like podcasts and videos about, how to go about like applying to schools and auditions and all of that. And someone said, meditate each day about why you want to get it, why you want to get this thing, And I was like, that is so true. But I think like also having like a playlist to go with that, because sometimes I have trouble just meditating, like, and just focusing in, like, I think my mind will wander. But if I have a playlist specifically focused to that, like why I'm getting my master's or what that is, I think that would be super helpful for me to just like zone in.
I love that. Yeah. I love that. Yeah. And you can even like meditate while listening to the playlist.
Yes.
And setting intentions while listening to the songs too.
Yes.
Love it.
Yes.
Yeah.
What would yours be?
Mine would definitely be travel based as well, like similar to what Josh was saying. Like for our trip to Europe, I think I would want that, to make a playlist for that, and just like setting intentions for myself, and just like music to also like look back on and like feel nostalgic to listen to, and like we're back home from Europe and stuff. Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah. So if you all do it, send it in.
Yes.
Send it in to us. I want to see like what a playlist you make. If you've done any of the tips, let us know.
Yes.
Or tried any of the media munchies, let us know.
Yes.
But yeah, take care of yourself, everyone.
Welcome to Cravings Corner, where we ask, what are you craving? Is it a feeling? Is it a food? Is it a moment? Is it a piece of music? Is it a vibe?
A place,
A place?
an experience,
Mm.
a drink,
A drink? A bev?
a bev.
What?
What are you craving?
Ooh. I'm craving. I'm craving, since it's 4/20/2024 tomorrow. 4/20 backwards. It's apparently going to be the best day ever. It's what I just hear on TikTok.
It's also like the second to last full day. Well, it's the last day of Aries season
Yes.
too.
Yes.
So we gotta really soak it in.
Yeah. I'm craving a picnic with a fat bowl and good food and good people and good music and good painting. And like, I want to just vibe with my friends this weekend. I want to chill out with Tyler. We're going to vibe this weekend. We're going to chill. We've had a lot of busy party weekends.
Yes.
It was the season of the birthday.
Yes.
We're ready to like vibe.
So excited. That's what I'm craving too.
Yes.
But with that, which is like such a go-to, just like munchie meal, is laksa.
Oh, yes.
I love laksa. It's just so nourishing and
that broth.
Spicy and creamy and flavorful. And it's just like, it's what I'm craving.
It's the perfect pair.
Perfect pairing.
With like a little like tofu like bao bun sandwich.
Yes. Getting the bao bun and like dipping it in the laksa too.
God. Yes.
So good. And like the chilled sesame chili cucumber
salad. Oh my God.
So good. Yeah.
Dream meal. That's like a
favorite meal.
That is
death row meal.
Yep. Yeah. That's my death row meal.
Same.
No, literally.
Same. So yeah, that's what I'm craving.
I love it.
So excited for this weekend. Well, thank you all for another amazing episode.
Thank you.
Follow us on Instagram and TikTok, Act and Analyze Podcast. And subscribe to us on YouTube. Subscribe, share, rate us.
Yes, rate us. And take care of yourself.
Yeah. Take care of yourself. Love yourself. Share this episode with everyone. And we'll see you next week.
See you next week.
Bye.
Bye.
Mwah.